Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm GC Smith, and welcome to what might be my last Legion Alpha video. Today was the Legion Developer Update stream, the live stream with Jesse Cox and Ion, one of the head developers for Blizzard in World of Warcraft. Now, I know that I may have pronounced his name wrong, but hopefully you understood exactly who I meant. Now, on this stream, Jesse Cox asked Ion a load of questions about the Legion Alpha and the Legion situation, and most of it, the answers and the questions were stuff we already knew, which is still very useful for a lot of people. There are a lot of players out there who don't pay attention to forums, so wouldn't have seen a lot of the information firsthand, or secondhand, sorry. Or a lot of people that just have forgotten or aren't aware of various things and need reminding, or may have just missed things here and there, and so it's very nice for this information to be repeated for those kind of players. However, amongst all the information we've already had, there were some few nuggets of key information or some amazing information out there, and I think we should obviously start with the first big nugget of information we have, and that is Legion Beta is starting this week. Yes, that's right. Alpha servers, I think, have already gone down, or is going down tomorrow, and will be coming back up on Thursday at supposedly 2 p.m. PST or 5 p.m. EST, which is about 10 p.m. Great British Summertime, current time. So there's that for everyone who is really excited for this. They've also said there's going to be a massive, amazingly big beta invite wave, so fingers crossed that I get in, as well as many of you out there who are listening and watching to this video. I really hope that we all get to enjoy it this time. Another bit of information for those who are already in Alpha, your characters are all going to be wiped. They said they wanted everyone to start this beta phase with an equal leveling or even playing field. And so you'll level up and do leveling dungeons simultaneously. I think there'll be a lot of changes in this build that goes live, such as dungeons will no longer automatically scale you to 110. Instead, you'll now be able to do dungeons at the levels you're meant to do them, or the levels they become available to you, because I think each of the dungeons has a different minimum level, although obviously all of them have versions of them at 110 in Heroic, so there's going to be that available to you as well. They also clarified a few things with some of the systems going into place with Legion. They talked about world quests, how they worked, how they compared to previous situations. They compared it most of all to Miss Pandaria dailies, which they said were a good idea but implemented really badly because there was a lot of content gated behind them, or a lot of necessities for raiding and stuff gated behind them, such as the enchantments or the augments for your shoulders or neck or whatever it was. And they said that people who missed the day of dailies fell really far behind. And so daily quests aren't going to hide or lock any of that kind of stuff away behind them, but they are going to be good ways to get certain rewards, such as gear, gold, artifact power, mounts, and other cosmetics that you may be able to find. They also talked a bit about their design influence for artifact weapons and the different versions, and how they actually started with the Ashbringer, and the idea came from developing the Ashbringer to, hey, let's do loads of different artifact looks that kind of look awesome but maintain the same theme. And then obviously they decided to do the few rare completely different looks that you can unlock for each artifact. Like you can unlock the bow version of Titan Strike, which is a gun, or the hand bow version of the marksmanship longbow, or other things like that you'll be able to get through various other ways involving vendors and other things. They also talked a bit more about the keystone system, how everyone in the world will have the same affixes each week on their keystones for the same amount of affixes. So if you only have one affix, everyone will have the same affix, so you don't have someone that has an easier one than another player, so you want to target their one. But it will still randomize which dungeon your keystone is for every time you get it back after doing a dungeon. So you can't just train the same dungeon over and over again with the same keystone. They also said that At the beginning of each week, depending on what the highest level your keystone was on the last week, there's going to be a bonus chest of loot in your order hall, which is something we've already seen in order halls. We just never really knew what they were for or how they worked. And they said you should get a new keystone each week in that chest, which is about 70% of the level of your last keystone. Not 100%. They want you to maybe do a little bit of work to get back up to where you were. But they don't want to make it too hard to grind it out. Basically, they just don't want you to chain infinitely just from the same spot each time. They want you to put a little bit of work in each week to keep you playing. Now, I know there's some people that are complaining about this because it means that their keystone will deplete over time, which is a fair complaint in some people's cases. Sometimes you go on a holiday for a couple of weeks, you can't do it. But hopefully... if your gear's really good and you've chained it up your affixes for a while, you should be able to easily start grinding up your affixes again when you come back, simply because your gear is going to outweigh the affix you're at, and you're going to just trounce the dungeon. They also said that basically the keystones don't scale to infinity, but you can get up to about 10,000% extra damage and health. And they did say that if anyone ever gets near that, they're probably going to ban them because you're most likely exploiting. They also did talk a bit about legacy servers, or pristine servers, as it's been talked about before. And they even talked about a bit about their vanilla experience, both Jesse Cox and Ion. Ion even talked a bit about how he was a shaman tank when he first started playing because he didn't quite understand what tanking was or how hard it was or what kind of classes were meant to do it. He basically looked at the fact that he had taunts, he had a shield, and went, hey, I can tank, and he says he managed to do it quite successfully up until about level 30. Basically, beyond that, they kind of said that they accepted that leveling had gotten too fast at low levels, that you often out-leveled the zone way before you got anywhere near finishing the storyline for the zone, and that you may even do a single dungeon, join a queue for a dungeon, maybe with a guild or something, and then after the dungeon was finished, you would be out-leveling the zone quite quickly. Now, I don't mean this to believe that they're going to remove heirlooms or other ways to get bonus experience, because they did say that they're thinking of ways to change the pacing of leveling so that you stay in combat a lot more, so you're not constantly running from mob to mob, no longer one-shotting everything, and that you will get to see the entire storyline before it becomes inefficient to level there in the zone. So my opinion is probably going to be that they're going to change it so you either get less experience or more experience is required each level for old content, which is something they can actually more easily do now that Legion comes with a free level 100 character boost with an experience that teaches you how to play that class. Mostly because one of the reasons they sped up leveling was new players would be daunted or will find it daunting to have to level through 5 expansions worth, or 4 or 5 expansions worth of content, which is not something they have to worry about anymore. And it means that players who create alts will have a more genuine experience, especially if they haven't experienced a lot of zone storyline. I know there are many players who haven't experienced the John K. Keishan or John J. Keishan storyline in Red Ridge Mountains, which is obviously a reference to Rambo in the entire kind of movie franchise when you go and kill all the orcs in the zone. With his traditional bandana and everything, and most people probably wouldn't have seen him again when you go to, I think it's Burning Steps, though I may be getting the wrong zone. But my point is they want to kind of slow down leveling or change the pacing slightly, which I have no problem with as long as they actually increase the heirloom power, the experience gain on heirlooms. One of the things when I've been through zones several times is I just don't want to be playing them over and over again, and so I'd like to be able to just level through the game very quickly to get my ult up to max level. Though I know there are other ways they can do that by maybe allowing level up tokens for classes to be sold in the auction house, similar way to the game time tokens, or allow us to level up alts in other ways. They also did talk about how they may want to try at some point scaling the old world using the new scaling system in Legion, so the entire old world would scale from 1 to 60. I'm not sure how I feel about that, seeing level 1s scale fight through Western Plaguelands. It would be an interesting thing, don't get me wrong, but it'll be weird slightly. In fact, I think that maybe having every zone scale up to 60 is great, but each zone should still have a minimum level for you to enter it and start hitting mobs, since it creates a more flowing feel of power and upgrades, since you're now able to start doing other zones with their powerful storyline. Especially since some of the later zones kind of work on the story-wise that you've done earlier zones, so you're more heroic and they talk to you more as if you're less of a pleb, which makes no less sense if you're a level 1. That said, I think I got an overall positive view or opinions of the interview today. A lot of it, yeah, as I say, was in iteration or reiteration of previous things, but it's really nice to see Ion come and even own up to some of the mistakes of Warlords of Draenor, which is great. I actually really like the way he deals with things, even if people are already complaining about Ion Hozolocosis. I also want to say that Twitch chat was stupid. It was so funny watching him talk about Mythic Plus Dungeons and people complaining about the fact that the system gave you more content. Don't know. They said it made it too casual, that it scaled infinitely to be really, really difficult. I guess those people are idiots or don't really understand what he was talking about, or they're just complaining for the sake of complaining. Either way, beta's coming soon. I'm really excited for that. Hopefully I'll get in and be able to give you some awesome content videos. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and look forward to seeing you again soon.